happened again, folks. I got screwed out of 30 burritos this time, folks. About $300 from a member of the community. And I always like to break things down in terms of how many burritos you could buy with that money, because at the end of the month, if I'm going to process, a loss of $300, you're probably not going to notice it in the ledger. But when you start thinking about what $300 can buy and 30 trips to the taco truck, 30 beautiful, warm burritos, that's when it really starts to sting, and depending on whether or not you get guacamole, if you get guacamole, it's probably only like 25 burritos or chips and salsa, but even so, 25 sit downs at a restaurant, that's when it really stings, because $250, $300 is a lot of money. So I like to break it down in terms of burritos. So if you ever get an offer, a counter offer from me for like $8.99 more, I'm probably thinking about that burrito that I'd like to add in to the deal. But we're going to go into eBay and look at the whole history of this case and exactly what happened and discuss, who's at fault. But first I want to talk about what's the point of this video. And really, the point of this video is for me to express my gratitude to all of you for the thousands of deals that we've made that have gone off without a hitch. The vast majority of transactions made here at Bryce Comics, I mean to the tune of over 99 point something percent, go off without a hitch. And that speaks to the integrity of you guys, the health of this community. I think that, these videos, I just want to start by saying that because I don't want it to become, skewed, or the perception to be that, everyone's out there screwing each other, because it's not the case. But when somebody does screw you over, it's interesting. There's things to talk about. There's lessons learned, because nobody wants to get screwed over. So that's why, these videos perform so well. But just want to start by saying thank you, my gratitude to all of you for the seamless transactions that we have. And then we'll also go over a couple of things that I've learned that might be helpful for other sellers. So what we're talking about here is a transaction on eBay for Lady Death, the Crucible #1 CGC 9.9 leather edition. Okay, and it started off with this guy messaging me on eBay, and he says, "Hi friend, is it for sale at a minimum of $199? I think I countered $230. So I think I just didn't even respond to his question. I just countered with $230. I might have had it listed for $300, something like that. It sold. And so as you can see here, it ended for $230.99 plus shipping. And he was in China, so the shipping came out to be about $30 or $40. So then you can see he messages here about a month later, and it says, "Hello, could you please check the logistics? I haven't received it yet." I responded and said, "Please give it a little bit more time. It's international. It's China. Let's just give it a little bit more time." And then it erased both of our messages, because it says that I don't respond until October 30th, but there was some correspondence in between there. But on October 30th, he reached back out and said, "I still haven't got it. I want a refund at this point." Or maybe he opened a case at that point. Maybe that's why it's not showing up here, is instead of reaching back out a week later, he just opened a case with eBay, which is fine, and that would explain where the missing messages were. It was through the case and not like the message app. And so I responded when I got the open case, and I said, "If I refund you for this item and it eventually arrives, do you promise to contact me and pay for the item?" So the reason I had said this was at this point, it still wasn't even outside of the realm of the Postal Service's time frames to be lost. I think it's not officially lost until 45 days later. And so we were still in that. And I've seen so many times where it does just show up. So I was simply asking, "Hey, I'm happy to just close this case right now, refund you, but I'm just asking, if you do get it, could you reach back out and either send the book back to me or pay for the item?" And he said, "The key and core question is, why hasn't the item arrived so far? Which is far beyond the expected time. You should give me an answer instead of a question. You should take a closer look at where this item is and give me an answer, because it has been out of time for too long." So I think he was thinking that I have more information on where the book actually is. So this is the actual tracking for the item. And as you can see, it says in transit, right? It doesn't say lost. It says in transit. And the last update was that it left Beijing, China on October 1st, which at this point was a month and a half ago. It's it's possible that it still shows up. I mean, I've seen stranger things where, longer time frames go by and it still shows up. But at this point, of course, I was like, I'm just going to, refund him. And I tried to explain to him, he was asking, why is it taking so long? It's like, dude, after it leaves my hands, it's out of my control. Like, I don't have any control after I ship the item. So I said, it's because the Postal Service has misplaced it. I have no control over shipping times. They're just estimated. I've been doing this for 4 years. I've seen this situation often, especially with China, and it almost always shows up down the road. I was simply asking if you do receive the book and a refund, that you would do the right thing and pay for the book. And then he responds, it is clear that I didn't receive this item. And I said, I know that. I'm saying it is likely you will receive the item at some point. If that happens, please contact me to return the item or to pay for it. And then he says, please help me get a refund. I have lost patience. Finally, please understand that I paid the money and didn't receive the goods. I didn't make any mistakes. I'm like, I am giving you a refund. Now, I'm saying if you receive it at some point after you get the refund, please contact me to return the book. And he says, no problem. If I receive it one day, I will pay you. And I said, that's all I was asking. And then I went, go to click, send refund. And this message pops up. You can't refund the buyer for this order. So I think what happened here is at this point, eBay had stepped in. And so it was like, all right, you can no longer do it. eBay is going to make a final ruling. And this was one of the first lessons that I've learned from this whole thing is at that point, you have to take your hands off. Just let eBay do it. If they're going to step in, let them do it. But I feel bad for the guy. And, I'd already decided to give him a refund. I have eBay linked to my website. And so I started thinking, well, maybe I'll just refund him through the website. And then he responds again, okay, this is not a problem. If I receive it, I will pay you directly. And so I'm feeling better about it. Like, okay, it sounds like, this guy was just upset he didn't get his book. He sounds like he's going to do the right thing if he does get the book. And I said, it won't let me send a refund. And I sent him that screenshot and he said, I saw your picture, but I don't understand why. I said, me either. Freaking eBay. It gives me no options to resolve the case. And he says, it doesn't matter. You ask the customer service reason, and at the same time, I will ask it here. And so then what I did is I sent him another picture. It says the case is pending. Like, this is probably why I can't do it. He says, it doesn't matter. I've been waiting for such a long time. Wait for a reply for the customer service. And so at this point, I wanted to just be done with it. I didn't want to wait for a reply. I wanted to just be done with it. So I show him a screenshot where I actually refunded him through the website. And it shows full refund, $263, the purchase price plus shipping. And I said, I was able to refund it through the website. It may take a few minutes to show up. And he says, okay, thanks, man. And I said, it has been refunded. The case will automatically update and close eventually. Take care. And he says, thanks, man. Again, if I receive it, I will contact you. I'm like, great. This is resolved. It feels like we found it. And I said, I appreciate that. And then I said, hi again. I'm filing a claim with the post office, and it's asking me for you to have you follow this link. If they honor the claim and you end up getting the book, you can keep it, but I need to file the claim first. So this is another little learning lesson. When you ship through Pirate Ship, I believe it is, or Shipsurance, one of the insurance companies through Shopify, they ask for the buyer for a lost item to fill out a little affidavit just stating that they didn't receive the item, okay? This is kind of tricky with eBay because you have to send them a link through eBay, and sometimes that flags it, and it's like, you can't send this. This is against our policy. You can't send links and emails and take people off site. So it's very tricky, and it's difficult to get people on eBay to click this link and follow it, or even off of eBay. And he says, okay, can you wait a moment? I haven't received the refund yet. And I said, yeah, no problem. And then I was able to get the refund. It was priority mail, so there was $200 of insurance on it. Remember, I've already refunded him $263, and so I was able to get $200 approved through. I believe this one was Shopify, the insurance that comes with Shopify. So that's great. That's a huge burden taken off. It's like, well, at least I got the $200 back. To pay for insurance for anything between $200 and $500 is where it gets tricky. Anything over $500, I always pay for insurance myself, just because the dollar amount, if there was to be one loss, it makes sense to pay for it. But for packages between $200 and $500, if you pay that extra insurance fee, if 1 in 500 packages goes missing and you pay an extra $4 for 500 packages, you start to crunch the numbers. And what makes sense to me is anything over 500, I get insurance on, but anything in between 2 and 5, I just, I'll take the 200 that is automatically provided with priority mail. While I got you guys here, let's check out the new inventory that was just uploaded a few minutes ago at bridescomics.com. Tons of awesome variant covers: Sozo Micah, Nakayama, ASM 361, 98. Tons of Todd McFarlane signature series, including a full Todd sig on his first work, Maximum Carnage. That's a hard one to get. The Liefeld keys, and there's some big boys on here too. But if you head over to bridescomics.com and sign up for the newsletter, you are entered to win a free slab each and every month. Look at these 9/8 newsstands at reasonable prices. Predator 1, Secret Wars 8, that's already gone. Zelda, somebody grabbed the Zelda. Somebody grabbed the Miles Morales Ultimate Spider-Man 1 in 50 for cash, like moments after I posted it. 2 new trades, ASM 100 and a 9.8 available for trade, and the first appearance of Iron Fist in a 9.8 also available for trade. Sign up for that newsletter, you get first access, and use code COLLECT10 for 10% off all in-stock items. Follow me over on Whatnot. There's a link in the description for $15 for your first purchase on Whatnot. We're having a massive show this Friday, the day after you're watching this video, if you're watching it the day it comes out. But we always have slab shows on Fridays with $1 starts, giveaways every 5 minutes, and your chance at a $1,000 store credit. Hope to see you over on Whatnot. After I issued the refund, a few days go by and I get an email from eBay saying, we sent the buyer a refund. And I go and check the ledgers, and they sent a second refund. They double refunded the buyer for this book. They sent him $263 through eBay, which came off my credit card, and they took $263 out of my website account. So he was refunded twice. And I reached out to eBay and said, hey, eBay, at this point, and this is where multiple days of going back and forth with eBay customer help, explaining to eBay that he was double refunded, right? Because I thought eBay should refund me, cancel one of those. Long story short, I'm not going to read all of these because it was literally days of going back and forth, and you get these long-winded emails from eBay, which I'll tell you what this is. This is AI. So like if you type a sentence, you can click an AI button and it turns your one sentence into like 3 paragraphs, and eBay has it like on crack mode because they just like use way too many words. Thanks for contacting eBay customer service about the lady death you sold to ILK 1991, which, by the way, that is the buyer that you guys should block unless you want to risk doing business with him, okay? Because I'll tell you, he's willing to steal money from you if he can get away with it. So whether or not you want to do business with someone like that is up to you. His screen name is ILK 1991, and he's in China. I understand that you mentioned that you have processed the refund using your linked website, and another refund was processed on our end, making a double refund to the buyer. Rest assured, this is handled promptly and will find the best actions or options for you. Brian, I know you have done everything exceedingly above and beyond for the case to be resolved, especially keeping your calm and professionalism, updating the buyer. That is much appreciated. Having to carefully check the transaction, it is just showing one refund process to the buyer as of the 31st of October. I know that you are a responsible seller, and we also want to make sure no double refund was made. To proceed, you need to upload documentation that you have manually processed the refund, having the transfer transaction reference number, date at time, recipient, and amount for it. And they give me a link and they say, show us proof that you double refunded him. I did that. I absolutely have the proof. I have all of the stuff that they asked for. I send them the proof. They come back and they go, oh yeah, it does appear that he was double refunded. Thank you for providing proof that he was double refunded. At this point, the only solution going forward from eBay, they say, is for you to contact the buyer directly and have them pay you back for the second refund. I go, what? They said you need to send him an invoice through PayPal using his email. And so I respond and I say, well, can you provide me his email? I don't have his email. They don't give you people's email addresses from a eBay transaction. And then they responded and said, no, we cannot provide you that information. You have to ask for his email directly in the Messenger app on eBay. And this is like all kinds of weird to me because, first of all, it's actually against eBay policy to ask for somebody's email address. Like, that email will get flagged. And here's customer service telling me that I need to ask them directly and deal with them directly. I felt like eBay was the one that double refunded. They're the ones that should just cancel the transaction, or at least give me like an account credit, a statement credit. And they say, no, the only thing you can do is work it out with him directly. And so I message him directly and say, hello again, eBay notified me that you were accidentally refunded twice, once from my website and once from eBay. I was trying to get this resolved for you faster by refunding through my website. I didn't realize they were going to refund you as well. They advised me to ask for your email address so I can send you a PayPal invoice for the amount due. And they said, what do you mean you don't understand? These are all operated through the system. If you have any questions, eBay should contact me. I agree with him at this point. Like, what I would say the same thing. Like, wait a minute, you're going to take me off site and make me pay a PayPal invoice? Like, I wouldn't do that, because like, what if eBay were to handle it through the operating system? Just like he said, I totally agree with him here. And I said, you were refunded twice for the book. Please check your bank account and verify you were refunded twice. So in between here, I went back to eBay and I said, this doesn't feel right. Why should I have to ask him for a refund and take him off platform? It should, the same thing that he said. And they just doubled down and said, you have to get the money back from him. There's nothing we can do to refund it. And so I just tried to do what they suggest. And I said, I agree with you. It's very strange what they suggested. I just want what's fair. I don't want to be out the money. And then he responds with Chinese letters. Okay. For the first time in this whole transaction, all of a sudden, he responds in Chinese. Like, what's that about, right? So you type it in over here to Google Translate, and it says, I only received one refund. A bold-faced lie. Absolute lie. At this point, so much time has gone by. He absolutely would see double refunds in his account. I have proof that it came out of both ledgers. The transaction date stamped, everything. He got 2 refunds. And so I said, I have proof that you were refunded twice. I was trying to get you refunded faster, so I did it through my website when eBay wouldn't let me refund you. Remember when I showed you the screenshot? Please do the right thing, man. I shouldn't eat this loss. I would be happy with $200 back. I even said, I'll take $200 back. So at this point, he ghosts me, right? He's just like, I'm not going to respond to this anymore. And the funny thing is that eBay also ghosted me at this point. Like, I had went back to them because they also suggested that I reach out to Shopify, which I did. And I reached out to Shopify and got some answers from them. And I reached back out to eBay. And at this point, like, a week has gone by. And it's funny because how they send these 3-paragraph AI, fluffy language things, for them to ghost seems very strange, But when I did reach out to Shopify, I had a conversation with them, explained everything to the customer service person, and they said, okay, let's look into this, as it was new to them too. And they said, here's what it comes down to. Whenever you send a refund for an eBay purchase, because my website is linked to eBay, you have to do the refund through eBay. Otherwise, it won't show up. They said if you refund an eBay purchase through your website, eBay will have no record of it, but the buyer will get the money because we have their credit card information. So it will refund the credit card, but it won't reflect in eBay. So that was the huge learning lesson here. I didn't know that. I thought a refund's a refund. I thought, if I sent the refund through the website, it would automatically update in eBay. That is not the case. So anytime you have an eBay link transaction, you have to do everything through eBay as far as refunds go. So I in a twist of good fortune here, I asked Shopify, I said, hey, we do a lot of business together. I didn't know this. Is there any way you can offer me an account credit for the amount due? Just as an exception, just as an exception. And they said, we'll look into it. And they came back and said, we're willing to offer you an $80 account credit, which is the monthly fee to have a website on Shopify. So we'll give you 1 month free. I'm like, that's awesome. Thank you so much for doing that. They didn't have to do that. That's 8 burritos back. 8 burritos back. We're on our way back to being made whole with the burritos. And so that is, the thing in a nutshell, long story long. And the thing is that this guy got refunded twice. So basically he got $263 in his pocket for free, and he also has the possibility of still getting the book. It's possible that he'll get the book and $263. So it's me saying, here's $263 to take my CGC 9.9. That's a possibility. And so just a little caveat on this of like a takeaway for me on this situation, because you see it a lot. In a situation like this, where you have the opportunity to walk away with $263 extra in your pocket that you don't deserve. Like, I think anybody watching this that's a respectable human would say, if you're dealing with a person like me, a business who has a face for sure, but also, like, even if it was like a bigger business, if they were to reach out and say, oops, we accidentally double refunded you, you'd send the second refund back. You like the honest and I think the majority of people would not just take a double refund. And I think that you will get farther in life if you don't look for opportunities like this. I think that you will actually get farther in life to forego the $263, to say, no, my honesty, my integrity is worth more to me than that. And yes, I have the opportunity to tell this business to go screw themselves, or just ghost them, or just walk away, or, whatever it is. Even if you're at a restaurant and they accidentally give you like $20 too much change, I think you will get farther in life if you give that $20 back. I truly believe that. So, of course, with eBay, with running a business, you're going to take losses. You're going to have to account for theft and stealing and whatnot. The other day I was in Barnes & Noble with my son, and they come on the loudspeaker and said, it's a code blue. And my son was like, what's a code blue? And I was like, I don't know. So I asked the guy, I'm like, what's code blue? And he said, that means there's somebody in here stealing. And my son jaw just dropped. He said, there's a stealer? Like, because in his 6-year-old mind, stealing is so obviously wrong, and he just was shocked that somebody was actually stealing, and it's just part of doing business. They have codes for it. And then, last night we were at Target, and asset protection came over to check the $100 bills. There's people in place and teams in place to deal with theft. It's part of doing business, and it is still worth it to do business. But maybe you shouldn't do business with ILK 1991 over in China on eBay. Thanks for listening to my rant. Do the right thing, folks. Go enjoy a burrito for lunch, and just be glad that you didn't have to give away 30 burritos to some a-hole in China. Have a good one. Bye-bye.